Yeah, don't worry. Borrow you for a second.
Yes, sir.
So I have.
Yep.
I'm just gonna before we finish.
All right. Do I have permission to get out my pencil and make a note in my Montessori? Sure. Okay, great.
How long?
I think some of these are
I was even practicing Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. There's stuff where it's just too scary for me to think.
We all need a few minutes.
Nobody's gonna miss it. Sure.
Would you mind if when we repeat and come from there, I have the congregation read responsibly the verse before I say it? Just kind of give them something else.
Yeah. I think we won't use this tonight.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's super cool. What did you write it? It's so good. So it's I mean, I kind of use it all.
Maybe you use just the first thing and then after this one.
Whatever you like. I will follow your lead.
Okay, here. So I'll announce it then. So you know. So we'll do these. Refrain. We'll do these. Refrain, even though the refrain. And then here.
Yeah, so there's three refrains, right? Typically.
Yeah. So here one.
Then we'll pick up the.
You'll add. Because then there wouldn't be three. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I'm not following.
Okay. We'll do this.
Then we'll do the refrain.
Yeah. And we'll read these. And I don't want to do this whole thing. So
gotcha.
just add it, pretend like there was a refrain
Yeah.
here. And then we'll do this refrain.
Bingo.
Yeah, I'll.
And you want me to do the two Hebrew line lead in, the second, third, and fourth?
All right, we'll begin in 1 more minute.
How soon tomorrow's coming up?
1 minute. 38 seconds.
Feels like you're only just like half of it.
Thank you, Lynn. For you. Okay. Shana Tova, everybody.
Shana Tova.
Gomar Chatima Tova. Before we begin, I would like to just say a few things. I want to say first something about Kol Nidre, the prayer. Kol Nidre, Kol Nidra. It's referred to many different ways. What are we to make of this prayer? You can take a look. Look at the words, page 205. It's decidedly different than almost any other prayer that we have. First, it's not in Hebrew, it's in Aramaic. A few years ago, I'm going to use you one more time as a foil. I asked Russell Shmulewitz to come up here and talk about his feelings about this prayer, because for many years before that, Russell used to sit right there, would grab me as I was walking up on the bima and would say, I really don't like this prayer. Because if you look at it, he had good reason not to like it. It's saying that we're going to be forgiven for all of the vows that we're going to make in the upcoming year. You would think that we'd be standing here, we would have our synagogue presidents hold the Torah, forming a Beit Din, a legal court. This is a legal proceeding. And ask God or ask the court or ask each other to forgive us for the vows that we made last year, for all the crummy things that we said to each other, for all the things that we said we would do but didn't, all of our good intentions. And that was it. They were just good intentions. Nothing came of it. No, we're actually asking God, each other, this Beit Din, whoever you are praying to forgive us for the things that we're going to do in this upcoming year. You know, what gives? Someone in a study group once referred to this as our profound nigun. And I think that's a helpful way of thinking about it. A nigun is a wordless melody. And there's music. We enjoy the music of it, and that's not insignificant. It's okay to just like the music. It's okay to not know what something means, or for it not to mean what you would like it to mean. It's okay to be offended by what it is saying, but embraced by what you want it to be. Part of that is humility. Everyone in this room is smart, but these rooms have been filled for centuries with really smart people who have also said these words, and it's not as if we are the first people ever to be able to read the translation. And I think being humble about what we don't know and about what we say is a pretty good message to take forth in this upcoming year. You can read in the margins, this prayer has gone back and forth between being about what we said last year and what we're going to be saying in this upcoming year. Many of the rabbis over the centuries did not like this prayer. These were the same kinds of rabbis that didn't like Tashlich, the service where we go to a body of water and rid ourselves of sins. These rabbis thought, getting off a little easy there. And so there's always been ambivalence about this prayer. There might be a history of this prayer being about Marranos, about those who were forced to convert, and that the liturgy, that the synagogue and God was saying to them, always, you're always welcome. We accept you for who you are. But I think let's embrace the humility of not knowing where we stand on this prayer and being okay with that and being able to be carried away by the music, by the voices of each other. The second thing I want to say is something I touched on at Erev Rosh Hashanah, but I like to spend a little bit more time and I forgot to. Embrace the margins, okay? You see this book? It's designed to look like a Talmud. A Talmud has language in the middle. No one understands what's in the middle. No, that's the truth. No one understands it. That's why the page is surrounded by commentary. And that commentary goes all the way back to when those final rabbis finished the Talmud. The first rabbi after that of the next generation picked up with commentary. All the way, there are new Talmuds with commentary up until this day. Okay, so the margins are our voices and where we can find a meditation, a connection, a point of interest. The other thing I did say on Rosh Hashanah was embrace boredom. Okay? It sounds like a little joke, sounds like I'm trying to be cute, but I'm not. Boredom is generative. There's not many places left in this world where we're allowed to be bored. This is one of them. It's a luxury. And the last thing I want to say, and I don't want to shame anyone. I don't want to be striking my chest for things that I've done since walking onto this bima, but let me make a little bit of a plug. Don't say, have an easy fast. Okay? If you want to say something, say have a meaningful fast. Because the Torah says almost nothing about Rosh Hashanah. It says blow the shofar. Okay. Yom Kippur, it says a few things. One of them is to afflict yourself. And we understand that to mean fasting. We might wish it meant something else, but we have taken it for a long, long, long time to mean fasting. And that has to be doing something for us other than what we think it's doing. Or it has to be doing more than just doing whatever we think it is. As a people, we have mastered complaining, okay? We have turned it into an Olympic sport, and it's easy to spend these 25 hours complaining about being hungry. I'm very good at complaining, okay? But there's more there. Getting through Yom Kippur is 100% an accomplishment. And that's why this room feels so good 25 hours from now. And fasting is a part of that. Certainly it's a part of that. It is not easy. But fasting is not an end in of itself. It is supposed to be doing something for us. If you are just bored, you're going to be just hungry. But if you use the words on the page, the words on the margins, the words that come when we sit with friends, when we sit with the music, with the boredom, with the meaning, the fast becomes secondary and the meaning becomes the thing that we're focused on. So it's my prayer for us that we find what that meaning is. So now we'll rise, we'll open the ark, take out the Torahs, turn to page 204.
Or zaru al tzadik, uleish relev simcha. 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 Bishiva shel mala, ubishiva shel mata, al tata makom vel tata kahal, anu matirin leitpalel im havaryanim. Bishiva shel mala, ubishiva shel mata, al tata makom vel tata kahal, anu matirin leitpalel im havaryanim. Bishiva shel mala, ubishiva shel mata, al tata makom vel tata kahal, anu matirin leitpalel im havaryanim.
Page 205. Kol Nidre Service, v'cherame, v'koname, v'chinuyei, v'kinusei, u'shavut. Dein Adonai, udishtavana, udeacharimna, v'diasarna, al nafshatana, miyom kippurim zeh ad yom kippurim haba alenu.
ויחרת נאבון כול הון יהון שרן שוויקין שוויתין בתלין ומבוטלין לא שרירין ולא קיימין נדרנה לנדרי ואסרנה לאסרי ושבועתנה לשבועות.
Kol Nidre Vacharamei Vekonamei Vechinuyei Vekinusei Ushvuot Din Darna Ude ishtabana Ude acharimna Vedi asarna Al nafshatana Miyom Kippurim zeh Ad Yom Kippurim Haba aleinu Letova Icharat navehon kul hon yehon sharan shevitin Betelin umevutalin La sharirin vela kayamin Nidrana la nidrei Ve'esarana la esarei Ushvuatana la shevuot.
וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות.
Din darna.
Din darna udeishtefana udeacharimna
Vedi asarna. Vedi asarna.
al nafshatana
Yom Kippurim ze ad Yom Kippurim haba.
Aleinu letova kulhon icharatna veon kulhon yon sharan
Shevikin, shevitin, betemin vutalim. Lo sheririn, lo sheririn, lo sheririn, velo kayamin.
Nidrana la nidre ve'esarana
Lo
Shavuatana lo Shavuot v'nislach lechol adat b'nei Yisrael ולגר הגר בתוכם, כי לכל העם בשגגה. סלח נא לעוון העם הזה, כגודל חסדך, וכאשר נשאת לעם הזה ממצרים ויד הנה, ושם נאמר, ויאמר אדוני,
צלחתי כדבריך,
ויאמר אדוני,
צלחתי כדבריך,
ויאמר אדוני, צלחתי כדבריך.
ברוך אתה, ברוך אתה, מלך, מלך, מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו, והגיענו לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, ברוך אתה, ברוך אתה, ברוך אתה, מלך העולם, מלך העולם, שהחיינו והגיענו לזמן הזה. וברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
The Torahs are returned to the ark. We're going to remain standing and turn to page 207 for the Baruch Hu. Page 207. You may be seated, continuing with the first of two blessings before the Shema on page 207.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ולילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני. ברוך שמו, המעריב ערבים.
Continue on the top of page 208.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו וקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני. אוהב עמו ישראל.
In the middle of page 208, we're about to say the Shema, and I just want to point out that the second line after Shema Yisrael, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Olam Va'ed, is one that we say the Shema twice every day, and this is one you always say silently, and only on Yom Kippur do you say it out loud. And I've just been thinking about that a lot in the weeks leading up to Yom Kippur, that there are some blessings that we say only once a year. There's a blessing you say on Tisha B'Av, the other 25-hour fast. There's a blessing at the end of Ne'ilah tomorrow, instead of asking God to write us in the book, to seal us in the book. There are plenty of things that we do once a year, but there's not many things that you do once a year that you do differently every day. So I want us to think about that today and then tomorrow when we say in Yom Kippur, what is supposed to be standing out to us about the Shema. Page 208.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We'll continue silently with the formal text for the Shema on page 209.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
Let's read responsively at the top of page 210. God performs wonders beyond understanding, marvels beyond all reckoning. God exalted us above all those who hated us, avenged us with miracles before Pharaoh, offered signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. As their pursuing enemies drowned in the depths, God's children beheld the power of the divine. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang this song to you.
Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, making wonders.
ומלכותו ורצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם
מי כמוך בלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה.
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה, זה עליונו ואמרו
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
נאמר כי פדרנו את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו
על ישראל.
אמן.
Top of page 211.
השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעץ הטוב המלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך.
והגן בעדנו,
והגן בעדנו,
והסר מעלינו,
והסר מעלינו אויב וחרב ויגון,
והסר שטן, והסר שטן,
והסר שטן מלפנינו ומאחרינו.
ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו.
כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו אתה.
ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו.
כי אל מלך חנון ורחום, חנון ורחום אתה.
ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
For those who are able, we will rise on page 212 with the special verse for Yom Kippur and then the Chatzi Kaddish.
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה אמן בעלמא יברא קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה נחמתה דמירן מעלמה ויאמרו Amen.
We'll continue with the silent Amidah. It's the first of many silent Amidahs for Yom Kippur. The formal text begins on page 213 and continues through 221.
We continue with the prayer Ya'aleh on page 223.
זיכרוננו מערב, ויבוא ויודענו מבוקר ויראה הדרתנו ויראה הדרתנו ויראה הדרתנו יעלה דופקנו מערב ויבוא גילנו מבוקר ויראה בקשתנו ויראה בקשתנו ויראה בקשתנו Anaref, Ya'ale, En Kateinu Me'eref, V'yavo, Elecha miboker, V'yirah Eleinu, Anaref, V'yirah Eleinu Anaref. Continue on page 224, the fourth line, Lechu Niranana. And just to give you a heads up, we're going to have a page turn in the middle of the song, because I wrote it for an earlier version of the Machzor, and then they changed the Machzor. So just so you know why. Lechu niranana l'Adonai, nariya letzur yeshenu, nekad mafanav betoda, pizmirot nariya lo, asher lo hayam vehu asahu, v'yabeshet yadav yatsaru, asher miyado nefesh kol chai, veruach kol besarish. Lechu niranena l'Adonai, nariya letzur yeshenu, nekad mafanav betoda, pizmirot nariya lo. Now please turn to the top of page 225, and we'll finish the song. הנשמה לך והגוף לך, חוסה על המלך. הנשמה לך והגוף לך, חוסה על המלך. הנשמה לך והגוף שלך, אדוני עשה למען שמך. עטנו על שמך, אדוני עשה למען שמך. בעבור כבוד שמך, כי אל חנון ורחום שמך למען שמך. אדוני וסלחת לעווננו, כי רב הוא. We continue with the piyut on page 226, Ki Hineka Chomer. I'm sorry, 227. Wonderful images in this prayer about craftspeople and the metaphor of how God takes care of us. Let's read responsively. As clay in the hand of the potter who thickens or thins it at will, so are we in your hand, guardian of love.
Call your covenant, do not heed the accuser.
As stone in the hand of the mason who preserves or breaks it at will, so are we in your hand, God of life and death.
Call your covenant, do not heed the accuser.
As iron in the hand of the blacksmith who forges or withdraws it at will, so are we in your hand, support of the poor.
Call your covenant, do not heed the accuser.
And then let's do the last stanza, because those are the four that will be sung. As silver in the hand of the smelter who alloys or refines it at will, so are we in your hand, healer of wounds.
We call your covenant, do not heed the accuser.
Ki hinei kachomer biyad hayotzer birtzoto marchiv uvirtzoto mekatzer ken anachnu biyadecha
נוצר לברית הבית ועל תפן ועל תפן ועל תפן ליצר כי הנה כאבן ביד המסתת ברצותו אוחז וברצותו מחטאת כן אנחנו בידך מחיה וממוטט לברית הבית ועל תפן ועל תפן ועל תפן כי הנה כגרזן ביד החרש ברצותו דיבק לאור וברצותו פירש כן אנחנו בידך תומכני ורש לברית הבית ועל תפן ועל תפן ועל תפן כי הנה ככסף ביד הצורף ברצותו משגשג וברצותו מצרף כן אנחנו מידך ממציא למזור טרף לברית הבית ועל תפן ועל תפן ועל תפן ליצר.
It's my cue. How's everybody doing? Thank you, Stephen. I heard a great. Good. It's hard to read the room on Kol Nidre. So I hope you're doing well. I'll say I am full of gratitude to be here. Last year I was sequestered upstairs on Zoom, so it's so nice to be here in person, to be able to be with my community. So I'm really thankful to be here. What story do you want to tell of your Judaism? And who is writing it? As the forwarded emails about the supposed day of hate began coming in around Tuesday morning, I found myself hesitating, asking this question, instead of immediately crafting a response. I have strong feelings on what I or the synagogue should send out, what statement we should make, and those that we should not. I resist the need to send something out simply because others have. I will not rush when the right words require time and reflection. I want us to be above the whims of the day, to transcend virtue signaling and performative empathy, and beyond the need to have a position on issues that are simply not our business. And so, this past February, I hesitated to send out a statement for all of those reasons. And also, because I do not believe that anti-Semitism should determine how we are Jewish as a community. I believe firmly that only we can write our story, and thus only we can wield that pen. But when I saw how much concern there was with this ridiculous day called the Day of Hate, I finally began crafting an email because, of course, I was wrong to have not written something. This mattered. It impacted us. It impacted us here, and you all knew it before me. That Saturday morning was supposed to be a small Shabbat. All indicators on the Road Faith Tzedek calendar pointed to 3 round tables. No need for more than 24 sliced bagels. I didn't expect that many people to show up, even the number of people who showed concern. But as I stood at the back, greeting the Masorti Minyan mainstays, I began to see those who were not. This is where I need to be today. I came to show my support. We need to leave shortly, but I needed to be here for as long as I could, which for some people was only 15 minutes. This was such a beautiful show of solidarity and dedication, which came on top of many people writing to say that they were there in spirit, but couldn't be there in person. We began defrosting more bagels. We had a beautiful Shabbat. Unexpected participation makes everybody feel better. This is an aside, but when you choose to come, you're not only doing something for yourself, you're also making others feel good. That Shabbat made me spend time with anti-Semitism. Its significant rise in the past year, coming on the back of 6 or 7 years of heightened concern. I had to spend time with celebrities and artists that I love. And can I still have integrity if I loved them? I spent time thinking about, and to be honest, I'm still wondering if it's always wise to be wearing my kippah when I'm out in public. But I went back to something that I said when I first started. I'm not an anti-Semite Jew. I've always avoided sermonizing about anti-Semitism, and I paid it little regard. But now I had to consider, was I being naive? Was I being bullish to continue to say that it had nothing to do with how I lead, with how I am as a rabbi, with how I want us to be as Jews? What story do you want to tell of your Judaism? And who is writing it? I want you to think about that question. And as you think about it, I want to share a story that speaks to that Shabbat of solidarity in the face of hatred. And we can call this story a neo-Hasidic story. One summer morning, early in his career, the Rabbi returned from vacation, and he had a voicemail on his machine. Rav David, I would very much like the opportunity to meet with you. I was not sure who to call, who to talk with, or even what I need. I'm moving to your village, and I would like to learn more about my past. And well, maybe you could help me. Rav David did not quite know what to make of that voicemail, where this was going to lead, who that person was on the other line. But he did call him back. But they could not quite connect, couldn't get their signals aligned. Perhaps Rav David didn't put enough effort into tracking him down. Maybe our young man, Grayson, had used up all of his courage, his emotional energy in making that initial call. And perhaps when the caller ID said synagogue, i.e. Judaism, he decided he couldn't answer. Maybe he lost his nerve. since he was wary of the image conjured in his head of a shtetl, of an idea, a tradition that made him ill at ease or made him feel less than. Synagogue was not the comfortable image of being Jewish, of the Jewish family that he had come from. His mind's eye saw beards and overcoats, the type of Jews that his family did not know how to identify with, the type of Judaism that they felt that they had outgrown, the kinds of Jews that judged them for that growth. So time passed. Months went by, and Rav David had long since forgotten about our young man. And then out of the blue, as he was preparing for the approaching Shabbat, he got an email. This time, Grayson shared that his great-grandfather was the great Rabbi Mendelssohn, a gadol, a giant of the last century. And he was hoping the Rebbe knew something about him. Finally, Rav David and Grayson were to sit down on the upcoming Wednesday morning. But from the time of the email to the date of their meeting, the Jewish world's foundation had been shaken. The Rebbe's world changed, as did every shul-going Jew's. After the attack in the village of Squirrel Hill, the synagogue entered a new awareness of itself, that of a target. It ushered in a new relationship, an understanding to its place, to this golden Medina, a place paved in solid earth that was now soaked in blood. On the day of the meeting, as our young man walked in the doors that were used to Na'aseh v'nishma, to pursue justice, to stand with feet together, to mimic angels, and of course, to schmooze, it was now being equipped with bars, and the Rebbe was being outfitted with a panic button. As they sat down together, our young man was emotional and anxious. The Rebbe was used to sitting across from someone who was a bit anxious and ill at ease. He was, after all, a Rebbe. But he'd worked so hard to appear normal, to have an office with candy, to have a poster of Babe Ruth on the wall, attempting to have an atmosphere that spoke to comfort and approachability rather than judgment, guilt, and distance. But nonetheless, he was taken aback by the anxiety that stood 2 feet away from him. The young man sought out the Rebbe to learn about his great-grandfather and his legacy. Why that would lead to such heaviness was beyond the young Rav. The Rebbe tried to nose his way into the conversation neutrally. He learned that, yes, Grayson's great-grandfather was one of the biggest rabbis of an era when synagogues were huge. His great-grandfather was the kind of rabbi that synagogues named their sanctuaries after and published their sermons in bound hardcovers. The kind of rabbi that machers give big money to endow a chair at flagship institutions for. Our young man shared, as he described it, his bourgeoisie upbringing, of living among many Jews, but not much in the way of Judaism. He had a sense that he had yichus, significant lineage, but what that meant and what that meant to him, he did not know. But that's why he called. As they sat uncomfortably together, the Rav considered if this was a young man seeking to rebel. Perhaps Judaism offered that path. Or maybe he was lost, and he knew enough that the tradition could be an anchor. It could be his port in the storm. The Rav knew enough to know that there was something that he wasn't saying. Finally, he opens up and he says, I never thought of myself as a Jew. I just saw myself as an American. But now, after what happened in Pittsburgh, I think I understand that the choice is not mine. No matter what, the world sees me as a Jew. They spoke for a little bit longer about what no one can remember, but a connection was formed, and that is what lingered. They embraced, and the Rabbi looked forward to seeing Grayson again. He looked forward to possibly learning with him the meaning to be shared from a relationship that was formed through fear and vulnerability, yet would lead to a beautiful connection, one that seemed impossible just 30 minutes before. Grayson left, and well, Rob David has not seen him since. For years, I've been trying to find the meaning of that story, the hit you over the head moral of the typical Hasidic story. And I was brought back to it because of the Day of Hate and our community's response. The increase in attendance, the well wishes of those who wanted to be there, and the number of people who forwarded me an email when they heard of this looming threat. I began to understand the questions I wanted to ask from these two vignettes. What motivates us to be active in our choice as Jews? Is it the potential it has for us? The intentional life that can guide our decisions? Is it something that hibernates until the inevitable and forces an early wake-up? Is it because we were born to a Jewish parent or made the sacred choice to immerse in the mikveh? Do we get to decide, or do we allow outside forces to make that determination for us? Is Judaism about being on the path of meaning, the rich discussions that we can have here, like the ones we had on Rosh Hashanah? Or is Judaism really? Is it only about tiki torches, pastrami, and the pride that we have in Sandy Koufax? The Grayson story feels like a microcosm of our story. It speaks to the beauty of emancipation, the promise of America, how Judaism can grow here, and how it could become lost or discarded. Our ship has arrived, and the need to be religious, to belong, whether that's internally driven or forced upon you, that ship has sailed. We can either not care, letting it drift away, or we can choose the more arduous path and sail against the current. The story helps me understand just how easy it can feel that we've lost control of the narrative, of our own story, or how easy it can be to allow outside forces to seize control of your pen for someone else to tell your story for you. Maybe that's easier. Maybe Grayson wanted to tell his story, but it just became too much to transcend his upbringing, go way beyond what was taught to him in order to fill in chapters of his narrative with a story his parents did not know how to share with him. But I'll tell you, he could have. He still can be, and for all I know, while Rob David knows, he might be. But I know that you can, and I know that we can. Many, many factors could have kept Grayson from coming back. If I could speculate, it took him a few days to process the meeting and the profound realization, the same one that tragically many of my Austrian family members had, the same one our Sephardic brethren had in Spain in 1492, and the same one that even Joseph's family had back in Egypt. No matter what social heights they ascended, they were still Jews. And we will always be brought back to that realization. And for Grayson, after those heady few days, the sun rose, he went back to work, birds flew overhead, and life continued to pass by. Maybe he saw the bars being installed in the wall, heard about security networks being formed, got wind of the arming of guards in and out of synagogues, and that literally circumcised him from his momentary tribal connection. Maybe he just said, screw it. It is a blessing to have that choice. If it was not a choice, Judaism would not have any weight. It would not have the power to shape, hurt, and inspire us. The capability to form our outlook on life and fill it with meaning, with beautiful sights, and a community to share it with. In the past few months, we've seen a dramatic wave of anti-Semitic activity on Twitter and in real life. In New York, there were anti-Semites and white supremacists heckling theatergoers as they entered the Leo Frank play on Broadway. It was the lynching of Frank that led to the creation of the Anti-Defamation League. And this summer, there was a number of fake bomb threats to synagogues as a means of entertaining Jew haters, as they watched, after calling it in, a terror-filled sanctuary while they were on the live stream. None of this is going away. If our Judaism is only activated in response to a threat, then what? Is our Judaism like a relief pitcher, sitting in the bullpen waiting for a call you hope never comes? It can't. Being Jewish needs to be more than just a sticker that says never forget or a profile picture. Memory serves only in building meaning that is lasting and plastic, malleable to the changes life will always confront us with. Homelessness, homeland, tradition, innovation, wandering, sovereignty, the forced and the chosen diaspora. The Grayson story is about a misconnection. Maybe it's about America. Maybe it's about the diaspora. Maybe it's about a rabbinic failure. I'm not sure it matters, though. What matters is your connection and figuring out how to find the one that works for you. Don't allow your Judaism to be about the headlines. I'm not saying ignore or disregard the existential threat. Those threats are real. And if you take off your kippah, you tuck in your mezuzah, or you don't come, the threat to a large extent is gone. The Anti-Defamation League or any other institution carrying on the cause of anti-Semitism does not provide an identity. The number of incidents reported does not help any of us figure out which of the 613 mitzvot are going to make our life better. Anti-Semitism forces us on a path. Grayson and me, you and the Satmar Chassid. But choosing the path of Judaism allows you to decide how, when, and with whom you want to walk. It's meaningful to feel a deep and unwavering connection, a bond to Klal Yisrael, to the Jewish people, to feel the fear and pain when another Jew is targeted simply because they're Jewish. And coming to shul is not a way to fight anti-Semitism. But coming to shul, or lighting candles at home, or investing in any other Jewish technology that might work for you, is a way to confront a future where others do not know enough about Judaism, about Jewish practice to make that choice. Assimilation is not climate change. Your choices and the choices made for you can be reversed. The impact on the world will not be huge, but the impact on your life could be. Now is a better time than ever to live Jewishly. Now as the world is full of disruptions and the ground under our feet feels shakier than ever, now is the best time to look to a tradition and a community that was built upon the tremors of disruptions of the past. I hope that Judaism provides answers. I know it will at least provide comfort and community, and that's a whole lot of protection in this world. The connections that we have, the ones made here, the ones forged through love and community, will always outlive and outlast the ones made through fear. I think there's more people in this room right now than there will be the rest of the year. The imperative for meaning on the high holidays is to do cheshbon nefesh, an accounting of not only of your soul, but of your Judaism. This has to be the time when we consider our Judaism. The length of the service, the boredom that it offers, is enabling that. We're all implicated in my failure to get grace and to come back. A person who was searching for purpose and connection, he didn't know where to find it. He assumed Judaism was it, but he didn't feel implicated by its story. He didn't know how to tell the story for himself. He did not know how to turn the first person singular into the plural. Judaism is about you and me and us. The way to find meaning will be different for everyone. What I find meaningful is different than Rachel's. It'll be different from what we hear tomorrow from Mark. And for that, we can thank God. That plurality is a part of the stitching of our sacred tapestry. But Judaism must be alive. It must be about our search for meaning, a meaning that touches upon the past, is tethered to our fellow, and one that makes room always makes room for our story, for our voice. Grace and Story is a Jewish story. It's just not the one I want to write for myself, and it's not the one that I would like Raya or Adira to write. When we author our own stories, it then provides a pathway for our children to have that same chance to write their story. So my question for you is, what story do you want to tell of your Judaism, and who gets to write it? Shana Tova. And open your machzors again, and Jonathan will tell us what page we're on.
I will. Page 232.
אל מלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, מתנהג בחסידות, מוחל עוונות עמו, מעביר ראשון ראשון, מרבה מחילה לחטאים וסליחה לפושעים. עושה צדקות עם כל בשר ורוח, לא חרתם תגמול. אל הורית לנו לומר 13, וזכור לנו היום ברית 13, כהודעת לעיניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וילד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויעבוד אדוני על פניו, ויקרא אדוני אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקי. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
Let's read responsively in the English the last section on the left side of page 232. Listen to our prayers, God. Hear our pleading, our sorrow-filled voices. May your ear hear and your eyes open to the prayers of your servants, the people Israel. May you forgive your people who have sinned against you. Salvation is Adonai's alone. Pour blessings on your people forever. Adonai Tzvaot is with us, our support, the God of Jacob, forever. Adonai, save us. Surely the Sovereign One will respond to us on the day we call out together. As befits your abundant love, please forgive this people's sin, just as you have always forgiven this people from the time of the Exodus from Egypt until now. When Moses recited this prayer, it is recorded, Adonai said, I forgive as you asked. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. We turn to the prayer Shema Kolenu, the second paragraph on page 233. As the ark opens, we rise.
Shema, Shema, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu,
חוס ורחם, חוס ורחם עלינו, חוס ורחם עלינו. חוס ורחם עלינו. קבל ברחמים וברצון. ברחמים וברצון. ברחמים וברצון. ברחמים וברצון. ברחמים וברצון. וקבל, וקבל, וקבל את תפילתנו. השיבנו, אדוני, אליך ונשובה. השיבנו, אדוני, אליך ונשובה. החדש, החדש, ימינו כקדם. 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 שמע, שמע, שמע קולנו. אל תשליכנו, אל תשליכנו, אל תשליכנו מלפניך. ורוח קודשך אל תיקח, אל תיקח ממנו. אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, לעת זקנה, לעת זקנה. אל תשליכנו ככלות כוחנו, ככלות כוחנו. אל תעזבנו.
As the ark is closed, you may be seated. Continue with the vidui, the confessional, starting at the top of page 234.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu anu vanecha ve'ata vinu anu avadecha ve'ata Adonenu, anu kehalecha, ve'ata chelkenu, anu nachalecha, ve'ata goralenu, anu tzonecha, ve'ata roenu, anu charmecha, ve'ata notrenu, anu fulatecha ve'ata yotzreinu, anu rayatecha ve'ata dodenu, anu segulatecha ve'ata kerovenu, anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu, anu mamirecha ve'ata mamirenu. Anu azefanim ve'ata rachum v'chanun, anu k'shei oref ve'ata erech apayim, anu mlei avon ve'ata malei rachamim, anu yamenu k'tzei lovet ve'ata ushnotecha lo yitamu. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, tavo lefanecha tefilateinu, ve'al titala mitchinateinu, she'ein anachnu azefanim ukshei oref, lomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, tzadikim anachnu ve'lo chatanu, aval anachnu v'Avotenu v'Imotenu chatanu.
Top of page 235. Please rise.
Ashamnu, pagadnu, gazalnu, dibarnu dofi. Zadnu, chamasnu, chafagnu seke, yatsdura, kisafnu, lotsnu, moranu, niotsnu, soranu, avinu, pashanu, tsararnu, kishinu horef, rashanu, shichatnu, tiavnu, tainu, titanu.
Let us continue with the longer confessional on page 237.
And now we have a little logistics and choreography. So you should have this handout that says the Al-Chaitz of CRZ. I have long wanted to replace the liturgy on the page, which is already pretty good, with our words. The way to find our story is to literally write that. So here, you have written this liturgy. It was a little, carrying it out last year without me here was a little clunky. So we get another chance. So we're gonna read together on this first page. Jonathan will do the refrain. And then Jonathan, I think, will do page 237. The third one we'll do from the page. so we don't have to flip it. We'll do the rest of it tomorrow. Is that somewhat clear?
Just guide us, we'll be fine.
Okay, so we're going to read this, and then Jonathan, I'll point to you, and then you're going to go V'al Kulam. And then we'll read responsively, and you're going to look. I'm going to jump to the page, okay, to 237. Follow my lead. Or don't. We can go together. We have sinned against you
for being unable or unwilling to forgive ourselves. We have sinned against you by not placing boundaries for ourselves to protect our time, family, and space from the ever-present demands of work and life. We have sinned against you by placing boundaries and then not demanding that other people respect them, thereby allowing work and life to creep in when it is uninvited. We have sinned against you by using screens to self-medicate when a book or a friend or a walk or a cup of tea would be a better tool. We have sinned against you by not taking the time to reflect and be self-aware about your needs. We sing together. Ve'al kulam Eloah selicho selach lanu mechal lanu kapelanu ve'al kulam Eloah selicho selach lanu mechal lanu selach lanu mechal lanu kapelanu.
We have sinned against you,
Holding on too long to a hurt or grievance or blame of someone else, so that my bitterness does me more harm than original hurt from the other person.
We have sinned against you for the times we allowed our
Hurt to grow rather than healing it. We have sinned against you for not being gentle with ourselves. We have sinned against you for failing to have perspective on a situation. We have sinned against you for the feeling of urgency that we put on ourselves and others. We have sinned against you by being needlessly judgmental of others. We have sinned against you by not sticking to commitments.
Jonathan,
So I'm going to do the,
do the refrain, and then we'll continue on page 237.
okay. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים, ועל כולם אלוה סליחו, סלח לנו מחל לנו, כפר לנו, ועל כולם אלוה סליחו, סלח לנו מחלה, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
Now, we can read responsively towards the bottom of 237. We have sinned against you through denial and deceit.
And we have sinned against you by taking bribes.
We have sinned against you by clever cynicism.
And we have sinned against you by speaking ill of others.
We have sinned against you by the way we do business.
And we have sinned against you in our eating and drinking.
We have sinned against you by greed and oppressive interest.
And we have sinned against you through arrogance.
We have sinned against you in everyday conversation.
And we have sinned against you through conspiratorial glances.
We have sinned against you through condescension.
And we have sinned against you through stubbornness. For all these sins, forgiving God, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בעיניים רמות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בעזות מצח, ועל כולם אלוה סליחו, סלח לנו
וחלנו קפלנו.
You may be seated.
We continue with the Rachamana Deaneh prayer on page 242.
Rachamana, Dianeh, Dianeh, Lemakiche Rucha. Rachamana, Rachamana,
Deaneh, Deaneh,
Dianeh, Litvire Liba. Rachamana, Rachamana,
Rachamana,
Peruk,
Rachamana,
Azev, Rachamana, Rachem Alan.
Hashata, Hashata, Bagala, Bagala, Hashata, Bagala, Hashata, Bagala, Hashata, Bagala, Ubizman Kari.
Hashata, Hashata,
Hashata, Hashata, Bagala,
Hashata, Bagala.
Hashta, Hashta.
Uvizman Kariv.
Hashta, Hashta.
Hashata, 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 Bagala, Uvizman, Uvizman, Kariv.
Those who are able, we will rise. The ark is open for Avinu Malkeinu on page 243.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, חטאנו לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, חמול עלינו, ועל עלינו, ותפנו. אבינו מלכנו, חי דבר, וחרב ורעב, מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, כלי חוצות, ומסתיר מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, כתבנו בספר חיים טובים. אבינו מלכנו, חודש עלינו, חודש עלינו, שנה טובה. אבינו מלכנו, מלכנו, חודש עלינו, שנה טובה. אבינו מלכנו, שמע קולנו, שמע קולנו, שמע קולנו.
We continue with the traditional melody at the top of page 244.
אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו. אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו, כי אין בנו מעשי.
Lots of harmony, please.
עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, והושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו. אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, והושיענו.
As the ark closes, you may be seated. Continue with the Kaddish Shalem on the middle of page 245.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעלמה דברה קירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומי חול, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבן מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עמיה יתברך.
ויתברך וישתבח ויתפעל ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. ימי דקודשה ימי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה למילן מהלמה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן מהלמה ואימרו אמן. תתקבל צלון דהון ובאותהון לכל ישראל קדם אבוהון דבשמיא ואימרו ואימרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, על כל ישראל. ואימרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואימרו אמן.
Please rise for Aleinu on page 246.
עלינו לשבח לאדון לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית שלא עשנו תגולי הרצון ולא עשנו משפחות האדמה שלא שמחתנו כהם וגור עלינו בכל העולם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. כי המלכות שלך היא לעולם תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמן. והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, תהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
As the ark closes, you may be seated.
Turn to the Psalm for the season, page 248.
ולהאמנתי לראות בטוב אדוני בארץ חיים. קווה לאדוני חזק ויאמץ ליבך, וקווה אל אדוני.
Today on the 10th of Tishrei, we remember Abbott Coburn, Bella Rosen, Berta Kahn, Ida Silverman, Janet Raker, Louis Wolf, Molly Dernfeld, Morris Robin, Pasha Waftig, Pearl Chesler, Rose Fettman, and we continue to remember Rabbi Ted Glock. May their memory continue to impact our lives. Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, is on page 247. Yit Gadal, V'Gadash Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma Divrach Urute, B'mich Malchute, V'chayachon, V'mechon, V'chay D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agula Uzman Kari V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olmei Olmaya. Yibarach V'yishtabach V'yitbahar V'yitvonan V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar V'yitala V'yitalal Shmei D'kudsha Brichu Le'ela Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechamata Damiran Ba'alma V'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mermav Huya Aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru. Amen. How are we doing now? Seems to be not doing as well. You're ready to go home. Yasher Koach, Jonathan. Really, really beautiful davening tonight. Such a pleasure, and makes us excited to have another 20-something hours. So thank you for beautiful davening. We'll see you tomorrow. To Michael Brown, our choir director, thank you. To Alyssa, Sarah, Matthew, and Joseph, thank you. Look forward to hearing much more of you tomorrow. It's always a pleasure to have you back. We miss you when you're not here, so thanks for joining us. And Rachel, it's nice whenever your voice cuts through. I say many times over the high holidays, you can have this microphone and sing, but hasn't taken me up on it. Tomorrow morning, we'll begin davening at 9:15 in here. Upstairs in the Mandel Room, Minyan Katan, for service for children up to about 5 at 10:30, and in the chapel for Minyan Gadol for children who are older than 5 at 10:30. And that's with Rachel. If you would like to go there, then you're not a child. No one will turn you away. Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of things. Oh, I have an Al-Hait for not sending the email that was in the draft. Somebody asked me to send an email about doing a teen study tomorrow, which I'll be doing after Yisker. It's in drafts. I forgot to send it. So if you have a teen, join me tomorrow in the library. But I'll make that announcement tomorrow, so you'll have to be here. We will conclude with Yigdal. Page 250.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ואין אצל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו.
אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו. קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו.
הינו אדון עולם לכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אליו נתן שסגולתו
ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו. תורה דמת נתן לעמו אל, היה נביאו נאמן ביתו.
לא יחליפה אין ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמין לזולתו. צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו.
גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו.
ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפתות מחכה קץ ישועתו. מתים יחייל בנוף חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו.
שנה טובה.
שנה טובה.
גמר חתימה טובה.
גמר חתימה טובה.
See you tomorrow.
Hope to see you. Wonderful to see you.